And that moment right there, I ain't gonna lie, that moment right there made me like change like literally everything.
Yungeen Ace's story blew up like a firecracker, and not in a good way. Foolio might have been his biggest rival, but he also kept Ace's name hot, whether people admit it or not. When Foolio was gone, Ace's momentum slipped, his circle shrank, and the whole machine started rattling apart fast. To understand how it all crumbled, you've got to rewind and see how the empire was built on pain, loss, and an endless loop of revenge that turned into a full-on media circus over time. Kanta Buller, known to the world as Yungeen Ace, didn't rise from some polished studio plan. He rose from hospital hallways and crime scene tape after surviving real chaos in Jacksonville's streets. June 3rd.
As soon as I pull my phone out, I get shot in my hand. See my whole hand, see all this is off, but it grew back, you know what I'm saying? See my whole hand, so when they start shooting, I seen it. But like, it just got the blowing and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but my mind's so fast, bro. It's quick. So I get my little brother 23, it's his birthday, so I'm shitting him, trying to get him out the car though. I'm pressing like the door, cause the door's locked. So I'm trying to press the unlock button, but they still shooting. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still getting hit and everything.
2018, outside Town Center Mall, a birthday dinner for his brother Trayvon turned into tragedy, and Ace was marked forever by it. That night forged his identity. He took the pain and turned it into a sound people could feel in their bones, not because it was trendy, but because it was raw and real. But somewhere along the way, the game twisted real losses into memes and packs, treating...
After that happened, not to say that one thing had anything to do with the other, because I'm not going to put that out there. Yeah. But Yungeen Ace got shot 8 times, and then his brother died, and then some other people got shot.
Death like trophies for clout and streams, and that line got crossed way too easily by everyone watching and sharing. Who I Smoke blew the internet wide open and shifted the whole Jacksonville drill map overnight with 100+ million views, brutal call-outs, and a level of public disrespect that turned fallen names into a global joke. Ace and ATK suddenly became the new face of a darker wave of rap warfare. But fame from the streets always...
Started the beef with Who I Smoke.
No, man, I ain't gonna lie, I hate when people say that shit. He tried to portray like I dissed him first. He tried to portray like I dissed him first.
Yeah.
Yeah, marketing genius though. That was raw. He tried to do that like that, but if you know, you know. Like,
the impact was nothing short of explosive.
Comes with a bill to pay. Every play, every post, every taunt put bigger targets on backs because the real world doesn't treat death like content and the streets do not forgive. Foolio snapped back quickly with "When I See You," and it wasn't just music, it was a straight challenge. The cemetery visuals, the taunts over Ace's losses, the flipped news clips,
Oh, you know, that's just how that go, you know. It's back to back to back to back to back. That's just how that go. You know, you just gotta try to protect your big dog.
Push things beyond rap into something personal and public at the same time. Soon it wasn't a back and forth in songs anymore. It was a viral machine fueled by Instagram and YouTube, amplifying every slight, every sub, every flex, while activists and cops warned about turning murder into marketing and the audiences watched anyway. Meanwhile, cases started stacking as lyrics and visuals got pulled into courtrooms. Ace's close associate Hakeem Robinson, known as Kasu, got tied to multiple bodies, including 16-year-old Adrian Bibby.
It was just like, if you ain't with my hood, fuck you. Like, it was just like it was just a lot of like talking and like undercover shit, like a lot of shit being said. So I ain't the type, like, I'm a bold person. I'm gonna put a name on anything I say, you know what I'm saying?
Gaynor Jr., and he even dropped Bibby out with victims' faces on the cover, which later came back as evidence in legal proceedings. By August 2025, Xu was convicted of first-degree murder in a separate 2020 case. His own father testified, dash cam video was cited, and prosecutors pointed to Who I Smoke to argue motive and conspiracy, turning the music that boosted the crew into exhibits that locked doors. While all that built pressure, Ace, the survivor who turned trauma into a...
That no one's gonna get on an airplane and come kill you.
Yeah.
No one's gonna book a ticket, go to some other city, try to find a gun in that city, because you're not gonna bring a gun on the plane. So you gotta go and find a legal gun in that other city, figure out where you are.
Brand ended up staring at a threat bigger than any op. The monster of hype and violence he helped feed was now circling back to consume him. The turning point came June 23rd, 2024 in Tampa around 5 a.m. Humid air, quiet streets just before sunrise. Julio Foolio, real name Charles Andrew Jones II, drove 3 hours from Jacksonville to celebrate his 26th birthday and find peace for a night away from danger. The Airbnb fell through after the crowd got too big, so he and his people moved to a Holiday Inn, thinking it was a simple pivot, not knowing 2 cars with masked shooters had tailed them from Jacksonville with patience, planning, and bad intent. Old school surveillance mixed with modern tech exposed the web.
Goes to show when people want you dead, man, it just takes willpower, bro. They drove 3 hours, 2 separate cars.
And they all got caught.
Later, phone records, cameras, and license plate readers mapped the coordination between the shooters and the lookouts, including Alicia Andrews and Isaiah Chance Jr. allegedly tracking where Julio was and when he was most vulnerable. Every IG story, every location tag, every flex became a breadcrumb for people hunting him, turning social media into a live map toward an ambush with real-world consequences. In the Holiday Inn lot, more than 30 shots tore into the Tesla. Fast, precise, merciless, and Julio died at 26, while 3 others survived, leaving Tampa with a crime scene that shook hip-hop headlines across the country. While family got the worst phone calls of their lives and investigators were still working the scene, Ace was already celebrating publicly like the war was done and his crown was secured, and that shocked even supporters. Hours later, he dropped "Do It," and the lyrics felt ice cold and too close to real life. They called my phone, said they got the low. I told him do it and catch his ass and do his. He with his baby, do it, which left people stunned because it sounded like a confession wrapped in a beat. 5 days after that came Game Over, and the details matched police reports so closely that legal experts said the song could be used in court, not only against alleged shooters, but to outline broader conspiracy or celebration of violent crime. By August, he freestyled over Problem and mocked Julio's family.
Yungeen Ace drops a diss track a couple hours later, then drops another diss track a couple days later. And one of the craziest things about this is that Foolio keeps posting on his IG after he died. You seen that?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's like responding to his op.
Mentioning that Julio's mom had been shot 8 times in a separate incident which she survived. And she went public saying she believed Ace was responsible, while XXL covered waves of backlash calling him petty and heartless. Then came the switch. On IG Live, he claimed he and Julio were actually on decent terms, said he cried when he heard the news, and that their last conversation was cordial. But the internet wasn't buying it because the diss track said otherwise. People debated if it was real emotion about a complicated rivalry or a strategic attempt to distance himself from legal fallout, but either way, the damage was done and the image flipped from controversial to toxic fast. Meanwhile, the case moved. By July 2024, 5 people were charged with first-degree murder: Alicia Andrews, Isaiah Chance Jr., Sean Gathright, Rashad Murphy, and Davian Murphy, with Davian caught in January 2025 after months on the run, and each had documented ties to ATK 1,200 or close affiliates. Evidence stacked tall. Surveillance cameras, nearby Tesla videos, 4K plate readers tracing the cars, cell records mapping contacts, and ballistics tying weapons found during searches to the Tampa scene, leaving little room to hide for anyone linked in that chain. Then the bomb hit. July 2024 brought a leaked audio where a masked voice said, "Ace put that bread up. Foolio had it coming," pointing to a supposed $10,000 bounty and lighting up the blogs while fans argued if the tape was real or a setup. Police stayed careful. Sheriff T.K. Waters said Ace wasn't under active investigation at that moment, but added, "We have..."
Come to find out, the mother was on the news, and also the brother, that they were, you know, and again, if you want to find, like, I mean, hand down motive is like, hey, you see your mom crying on the news about someone desecrating your brother's gravesite, and he keeps, and the famous rapper keeps rapping about it.
People always watching, which sounded like a clear warning that the radar was still on him. Timing looked messy. Ace's April 2024 gun possession case, as a convicted felon, got dropped that July right after Julio's death, and people split between calling it a prosecutorial miss or a sign that bigger charges might be loading up. But by mid-2025, the image fire was so hot, even family got caught up. Ace had to publicly check his own mom after she fueled more online disrespect, and the moment turned into more headlines and even more reputational damage. Career-wise, the line was going straight down. Fans backed away, promoters canceled shows, streams fell off, and major labels kept distance because the controversy was now burning bridges instead of selling records. Do It exploded early, but faded fast once the shock wore off, and people processed what they were actually supporting, while singles like Grab My Stick struggled to reach even 500,000 views, which felt tiny next to his past numbers. In August 2025, Ace tried to reset with Forgotten Star, but the title sounded like a concession. The project barely hit number 45 on Billboard's Emerging Artists and then disappeared, confirming that the drama had been the fuel and the tank was empty without it. Critics said it plain. Ace has raw emotion and talent, but without constant conflict with Foolio generating headlines, the music wasn't carrying its own weight. And when the noise died down, the songs didn't stick the same way. October brought the hardest commercial blow. The I Am What They Don't See tour had 8 small venue dates, already a step down from the year before, and by October 8th, 6 of the 8 shows were canceled for low sales. A brutal signal that the audience had moved on. But the worst threat wasn't business. It was legal, and it was getting closer. Because RICO is designed to crush organized groups using patterns of crimes, and the feds had long hinted they saw ATK as more than a music crew. Back in 2022, 13 people linked to ATK were picked up on conspiracy, weapons, and murder charges, while Ace avoided charges then. But that didn't mean his name wasn't in the paperwork, and Kasu's 2025 conviction raised the stakes with lyrics used as evidence. Under RICO, the pattern matters. More than 10 bodies tied to the ATK-KTA war since 2017 could be listed as predicate acts, while diss tracks like Who I Smoke and the post-murder songs could be introduced to argue conspiracy and celebration of violence. And if investigators could link the alleged $10,000 bounty directly back to Ace, that becomes classic conspiracy to commit murder, especially when combined with a documented structure of associates, roles, and coordination that fits how prosecutors define an enterprise. The narrative got even darker in March 2025 when warrants connected to the tragic death of 7-year-old Brian Allen surfaced, an innocent child lost in crossfire, allegedly tied to retaliation over the diss 6 Ways to Die, and the warrants named ATK rapper Mango as a documented associate. That's the kind of pattern RICO prosecutors target: systematic violence, layered roles, and music that can be read as glorifying real harm, so the feds follow the playbook. Flip the soldiers at the bottom, climb to the organizers at the top. In December 2024, Ace tried to create distance by saying he was dismantling ATK on IG Live, claiming the crew didn't step up on funeral or legal costs for locked up members, and blogs called it a smart PR move before larger charges might come. But RICO doesn't care about timing. It looks backward over years, and Ace's whole brand was built on being the face and voice of ATK, so walking away after the fact doesn't erase what's already documented. As of today, there are no official RICO charges on Ace, but the tension is thick. The Kasu case over Bibby is still pending, lyrics are expected to surface in court, and the 5 defendants in Foolio's case could cooperate for lighter time, so pressure is coming from all sides at once. Here's the painful twist in Ace's story. It's almost Shakespeare in how cruel it is. In 2018, he took 8 bullets and lived when others didn't, built a career from that survival, and then 2024 brought what looked like his ultimate win. But that victory crushed the brand and put him on a path where law enforcement made it clear the cycle in Jacksonville has to end. The beef kept both rappers relevant, pumped up streams, sold tickets, and gave them a story that distant fans couldn't stop watching. But when Foolio was gone, the same machine turned on Ace, leaving him with fallout instead of fame. Jacksonville has seen a severe toll from gang-linked violence since 2017, with a heavy share connected to the ATK-KTA conflict and the drill scene it energized. And that's not content. That's a community bleeding and families grieving. Whether Ace gets hit with RICO or somehow avoids it, his rise and crash already stand as a warning for the culture. If you build success on top of pain and blood, that energy finds its way back sooner or later. If there's a path forward for the scene, it's music that stands on its own legs. No scoreboards of tragedy, no memes out of loss, no trending that feeds on real people's lives, because nothing good grows from that in the long run. Thanks for watching. Smash like, subscribe, and share to keep the real conversations going, and tap the next video on your screen for another deep, no-filter breakdown. I'll see you in the next one.